let's zoom out and kind of look at the intricacy of like what he's building. I want to kind of look at it from a business standpoint. Which one of these technologies do you kind of see really starting to take off in the coming, call it 3 to 5 years, when you just look across the whole array of things that he's working on? Let me just name some of this for the audience so that they can really kind of wrap their head around the big picture of what he's doing. You got Tesla Auto, you got Tesla Autonomy, you got Tesla Robo Trucking and the cars, you have Tesla Energy, you have the Optimus humanoid robot, Dojo just got shelved, you have SpaceX, you have Starship, you have Starlink, all the internet coming from the sky, you got XAI, you got Neuralink, you got X, where he's collecting all the data. He's stepping into X payments. You got the Boring Company. You have the Hyperloop. The list just goes on and on and on. And where I would say your expertise, Cern, is you're able to kind of piece all of these different technologies together, and you can see the system of systems value that's coming and emerging out of that systems level thinking. And that's where I think Wall Street is missing it. I'm assuming you agree. That they're just looking at each thing individually and saying, oh, yeah, well, I don't know. But when you piece it together as a puzzle, you're saying there's this emergent value above and beyond the individual value that comes out of the whole. So really long question, which one of those puzzle pieces are the next S, curve kind of thing that you think is going to really pop in the coming 3 to 5 years?
The short answer, I think, is Robotaxi. But in reality, they're going to make incredible progress on everything you just mentioned. But let me just talk about the Robotaxi, situation as it stands today. So today, Tesla makes and sells vehicles and sells them to people and makes a little bit of profit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Tesla makes a car that they sell for $40,000. They might make a $4,000 net profit on that car. Okay, and some of that might include government subsidies and tax credits and that kind of stuff that benefit Tesla. So it's like a 10% margin.
Yeah.
If they're lucky. Okay. And further, you might buy a new car, let's just say, to make this easy, every 5 years. So Tesla's making $4,000 once every 5 years if they sell cars per person.
Yeah.
Move to a robo-taxi situation. Okay. The cars that they're going to use for that have a battery capacity of about half of a Model Y. So the cars will be cheap to make. Okay. And let's say the vehicle over a 5-year period produces $200,000 in profit, not per year, but just over the 5-year period.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're looking at a massive increase, right? $4,000 once every 5 years to $200,000.
Mm-hmm.
You're moving from selling cars to consumers, and consumers are picky and taste change, to making cybercabs.
Yeah.
A very utilitarian, basic machine that can give you a
There's
ride.
an advantage that they all look the same, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to think about any of that. Yeah.
Right. And so if you adjust for the fact that the battery content is half, then actually it's like equivalent to like $400,000 over a 5-year period compared to $4,000. It's 100x the profitability of selling a car. That's the kind of unlock that Tesla's on the cusp of with Robotaxi.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of the market opportunity, it's not just about disrupting Uber and rideshare companies. It's about disrupting all transportation. Your personally owned vehicle. There are people that own, families that own 2 or 3 vehicles. Initially, you'll get rid of the 3rd vehicle because you can take Robotaxi and that makes sense. As the cost of Robotaxi comes down, people are going to ditch the 2nd vehicle. As the cost of Robotaxi keeps coming down, they're going to ditch the 1st vehicle. They're just going to use Robotaxi basically in every situation once they become ubiquitous and super cheap. And I've always said that economics wins here. If you can save, $5,000 a year on your transportation costs, you are going to do it. People will discover that they can save money. People will happily not own a car, pay insurance, and deal with all the headaches of parking the car and, paying for all the payments. This idea that we have to own our vehicles actually is it's going to be an antiquated idea very quickly.
Cern, I want to stick some numbers on this for people so that they can think in their own terms. And correct me if any of these numbers are off. If you go out and you get an Uber today, you're paying anywhere from, call it, $2 to $3 per mile in order to get that Uber. If you buy your own car, and let's say you buy a $40,000 car, you hold it for 5 years, you sell it, you get whatever, it's worth at that point after 5 years, and you drive it an average American amount over those 5 years, this would cost you about 65 cents to 80 cents per mile.
That's
so
right.
Uber is in that, $2 to $3 range. If you own your own car and then you sell it after 5 years, it's about 65 cents to 80 cents. Elon's thinking he can get these robo-taxis down to about 25 to 30 cents per mile, which, you're, very generically, it's half the cost of going out and owning your own vehicle and dealing with all of that.
That's right. Yep.
Personally.
And the other thing too, Preston, that happens is that this becomes a platform to layer other services on. So if you've got this ubiquitous network of vehicles driving around, they can deliver food, they can deliver packages. You can layer on all kinds of other services on top of this platform.
Yeah.
You can also use it as an advertising platform. I've actually said that eventually you may be able to get free rides on this network if you're willing to subject yourself to advertising.
Wow.
Right? Because the costs of the car is so cheap to operate. Instead of getting paid by the customer, you can just get paid by the advertisers. Restaurants might pay Tesla to advertise in the car, right? Or restaurants may even pay Tesla to say, hey, we'd recommend going to XYZ pizza place, and it just takes them there. The kind of experiences you can have in a Robotaxi are actually kind of unlimited.
Cern, can you imagine the fact that he has XAI and already has a very good understanding of what it is you like, what it is you want to be advertised on? Like, he's going to know all of that.
And you'll be able to talk to the cars too, Preston. You'll have a conversation with the Robotaxi.
These things are going to get all your geo, like where you typically eat. It's
Again, it doesn't even need to know that. If let's say you travel to a city, you fly to Chicago and you say, take me to the best pizza place in the city. And then Grok is talking to you and saying, well, do you like this? Do you like that? You can have a conversation, and then the car then just takes you there. And along the way, it can act as a tour guide and say, oh, by the way, this building was built in 1938, and it was once the second tallest building in the world, or whatever you're interested in. It becomes a platform for all these different kinds of services.
Good Lord.
Right?
I saw some of the videos of people using the Grok AI in the car, and the feedback, at least that I saw online, I don't know if I was being fed this for marketing purposes or what, but the feedback that I was seeing online was extremely favorable. People were like, it felt like I was having a conversation with a real person as I was, people were telling it, hey, take me somewhere that you think I would like that I've never been before in my own town. And it literally took them somewhere, and then they went in and they were like, this was, so like some of the feedback that I've seen online was actually really favorable. And I think we're just on the cusp of like where this is all going. Like, this is nuts.
Right now, Grok is not connected directly to the operation of the car. So you can talk to Grok, and it's like talking to, just a laptop or a computer or your phone, but it's not controlling the car. Eventually, I think there'll be a link between the two, and you'll be able to have an interesting conversation with Grok about, hey, why did you cut that other car off back there? Didn't you see it? Or, can you drive a little slower? I'm not comfortable with the way you're driving right now, or whatever it is. You'll be able to have this conversation with the vehicle.
Yeah.
Right. In addition to just being able to query it with information about restaurants and different things. That's going to be a neat moment, I think, when that happens.
Okay. So the cars is one piece of it. The other part that I think is maybe a little bit further behind, help me out understanding kind of the timeline, but the trucks. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Tesla is building a factory in Nevada that has a capacity of 50,000 semi-trucks a year. That factory will likely be finished maybe the end of this year, early next year. They'll start ramping up production. So let's say by 2027, they're producing 50,000 semis a year. There's quite a few trucks in the United States. It's going to take a while to replace the fleet with electric trucks. But at the same time, they will also be like the Robotaxi. They will be autonomous trucks at some point. And just like how that's going to revolutionize the cost of transportation, it's going to revolutionize the cost of trucking. We can really get massive savings on the cost of trucking. And of course, trucking costs cause inflation in everything we buy, right? If trucking is expensive and moving goods around the country is expensive, that makes everything we buy that much more expensive. So this is going to be a massive deflationary force throughout the economy that's going to be good for all consumers. So every American will benefit from Tesla being able to reduce the cost of trucking. The trucking industry right now has a real problem in the cost to operate. Most trucking companies are not very profitable. The cost of fuel, the cost of the driver. The cost of the driver, I think, works out to something like $1 a mile.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's about 70 cents to 90 cents per mile.
Yeah, including benefits, maybe $1.
Yeah.
And so robo-trucking, gets rid of that. And then, of course, the diesel cost also is huge. If they're electric trucks, you have massive savings on the fuel costs. Yeah. And then, of course, the maintenance on these trucks is pretty high because, these engines wear out. Electric trucks won't have as much maintenance. There's fewer moving parts. There's just less stuff to maintain.
Yeah. They'll just swap the battery and put new tires on it and keep rolling.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the all-in cost per mile that I'm seeing for the line haul is like anywhere from $1.60 to $2 a mile. And the Tesla Robo trucking is expected to come down to about 60 cents to 80 cents. So we'll say about a 50 to 65% reduction in cost. Not as much as the individual car for people getting around, which, was mind-blowing, like 10x improvement. This is about 50%. But I guess my understanding is that this is a much more reliable stream of income because you're dealing with big vendors, and like once they come into this, call it Amazon or Walmart or whoever, like once they come into this space and they stay there and they see that it's a lot cheaper, it's like it's humming along. So
yeah, I mean, a 10% reduction in trucking costs would be huge. I mean, it would drive massive change.
Yeah.
At a 50% isn't absolutely enormous.
Yeah.
The thing that's different about the trucking market is it's all commercial operators. We personally own our own vehicles and we can operate them pretty cheaply, right? And Uber and Lyft right now are way more expensive to use than just driving our own personal vehicles. You don't really have that in the trucking market. It's all commercially operated. The industry is earning an average, say, $2 to $2.30 a mile. And as long as you can come under that, you're going to gather market share. And as you keep sort of driving that down a little bit, all those players are they're not going to be economic anymore. You're going to drive them out of business. And the whole industry is going to shift towards electric trucking and autonomous trucking pretty fast.
Yeah.